Hello, my name's Bob Willis and welcome to Defect of the Month. Now this month I wanted to talk about sulphur failures. Now sulphur gas, sulphur in the environment can have an impact on electronic components and electronic products. They can cause intermittent failures or complete failures of a product. So some of the areas that I've seen sulphur failures are on chip resistors, for instance. So if you have material that is in your electronic assembly which is laden with sulphur for some reason, it may be packaging materials, it may be some sort of plastics, etc. If they're actually in a product which has a printed circuit board assembly in, it's possible for corrosion to occur on the surface of chip resistors. And this has generally been overcome as a problem with the improvements in the quality of chip resistors and the plating and the coverage of the tin and solder coverage during the soldering and assembly. However, it still can be seen and it can be noted under conformal coatings. I'll talk about that in a moment. But we can also see the failure mechanism on printed circuit boards and the erosion of the copper tracking on a printed circuit board. And I'll show you a couple of examples of this. So let's just step back for a second. If we talk about resistors, chip resistors, the corrosion can occur to such a degree that it causes, first of all, a change in resistance, and then finally, potentially, it can lead to an open circuit. Now, if it's on capacitors, which is also possible, it's not so much of an issue in terms of a potential failure, because capacitors have multiple connection points to the termination that you're actually soldering to on the printed circuit board, but they're still visible as little black spots. Now, if you look at high magnification of sulphur failures on boards or on termination of components, it looks like a black deposit which has a floury surface appearance, and these examples show you types of this type of failure on the surface of a board or a component. Now we can do analysis, or a laboratory can do analysis for you and determine what is that deposit, and techniques are available to allow you to do this, and then you can determine what the material is, as shown in this example. Now, I've experienced this, as I said, failures on resistors, but I've also seen it on other packages, and here's an example where you can see the exposed copper surface where you've got this form of corrosion present. So in determining root causes, well, if you've got sulphur in a sulphur-laden environment on packaging materials, a classic example I've had is foam packaging within an assembly which was put there to reduce the possibility of damage during vibration or shock or bump of that particular product. And we actually tested the foam and were able to show that certain date codes of materials had a sulphur content and some didn't. In terms of the environment that the product goes into, it might go into an environment where the environment itself is completely sulphur laden. In that particular case, if your product has to go into that particular environment, you have to look then possibly at conformal coating. Now, conformal coatings can give a level of protection and can give complete protection, but you need to understand the materials you need to use, and that is where you need to talk to suppliers, but also determining the thickness of that material and how that will impact the reliability of the product, or improve the reliability by reducing the possibility of corrosion underneath that conformal coating. So I've seen certainly corrosion underneath conformal coating, but again it depends on the material, the quantity of sulphur in the environment, so there's a number of things you have to look out for. So talk to your conformal coating suppliers, but also talk to failure analysis laboratories who can assist you on determining whether sulfur is present in some other part of your electronic assembly or packaging, and also look at what and why you've got that corrosion present on your printed circuit boards.